So I don't know if the news cycle is done with Kimmi and Maurice or Love and Marriage Huntsville, but this has been weighing heavily on my heart, and I want to talk about it. So Kimmi, now first things first, I haven't watched this season. I actually stopped watching Love and Marriage Huntsville when Kimmi announced that she had cancer because it actually was too close to what I was kind of going through. My mom was diagnosed with cancer around the same time that Kimmi announced that she had cancer. So this was something I just didn't want to see on TV because it was already hurting my heart. And since Kimmi used to be one of my favorite characters on the show, I just could not watch it. And then the show had already jumped the shark to me in my mind. I was just over it. So, but I'm basically talking about this interview that they did on Fox Soul with Funky Dineva and Claudia. And mind you, I did not watch the entire interview. But the thing that I want to ask you is, do you think that Love and Marriage Huntsville is anti-woman?
Girl, now I hope you ain't gonna start that mess again. Now I was just asking, that's all.
That's just a question, because this show, as I've watched it through the seasons, has always been about a woman. The underlying message is you gotta do this to keep a man, or you have to chase this man, you have to treat this man a certain way. This was always the messages that I received, at least from the show.
Oh.
Ever since I was born, I've been trained to serve you.
And so that's my question. And so when I saw Kimmi and Maurice on YouTube doing this interview, and how Kimmi was basically doubling down in support of her husband's misogynistic views of what a wife should be, and meaning that she should basically submit and have sex with him when he wants it, it just disgusts me, because Kimmi was the most rational person on the show to me. And it almost came across to me as if someone was standing in front of the camera with a gun pointed at Kimmi, like, you better say what we need you to say, because her body language in this interview was opposite of what was coming out of her mouth.
Shut up! Before I bust a cap up in your ass.
And then to me, it's just like, Maurice, your wife, and everybody said this. I've seen video after video where everyone is saying how it's just insensitive, and it's vile that your wife is going through cancer treatment and you are concerned about busting a nut. Can you say that on YouTube? That's what you want. And it probably was only for 2 minutes, and that's probably why Kimmi obliged. But I can tell you, just from experience, from watching my mother go through 1, a mastectomy, 2, starting chemo, and 3, radiation. And I know some people have it in different orders, because I think Kimmi had her surgery last, I'm assuming, I'm not sure, but I know people get the treatment in different orders. But watching my mother go through all this, now mind you, my mother's 78 years old, so she's older than Kimmi, but she's still a woman, and she still had breast cancer, and she received chemo. And when you're going through chemo, can I just tell you, the process of it all, none of it's pleasant, because you come in, they do all this blood work, then they give you a steroid treatment, and if you're lucky, if you're one of the lucky ones, because where my mother got treatment, they gave her cryotherapy, which isn't for the faint at heart. Cryotherapy is basically they put gloves, ice gloves on her hands and feet to prevent neuropathy. And neuropathy actually is a side effect of having chemo. My neighbor across the street suffers from neuropathy from chemotherapy. And that's when your feet basically go numb, and you're like, it feels like you have pins and needles in your feet. So that, she had all of that, and then plus an hour and a half of the actual chemo. So, and the day after, you're tired. The day you're tired afterwards. And then 2 days later, the pain sets in, because they give you a shot that basically is supposed to prevent nausea, I think. I may have this wrong. but the shot causes pain. And then, so I was with my mother step by step of all of this. I was massaging her while she was having those severe aches and pains in her joints. Now, luckily, she didn't have a lot of nausea because I think the anti-nausea medicine prevented that, and I think the medicine has evolved a little bit. But the fact that Maurice was watching his wife go through this but still worrying about his own pleasure, and Kimmi was supposedly obliging. Now, in my heart of hearts, I want to say it was a storyline, that this didn't happen. But even if it's a storyline, it's a vile, disgusting storyline. To think that a network that was once owned by Oprah Winfrey, who's pro-woman supposedly, would allow this to come out. Now, mind you, I know she doesn't own the majority of the network. I don't even think she owns I don't know what her percentage is, if any. But the fact that this was her network, the own network, and what it set out to do, and you have this show on promoting anti-woman behavior, in my mind, is my opinion. Anti-woman behavior. It shouldn't be called Love and Marriage Huntsville. It should be called Love and Misogyny Huntsville, because these men on the show, they just exemplify all of the bad character traits that a man can show. You have Martell, who like, that's what a woman, and stuff like that. That's what a woman's supposed to do. If you treat a man right and you want to give me what I need, that's what. And then you have Marceau with his 20 women's going off to trips to Africa, and who definitely from the first season made it clear that
Some of our head used to say, maybe he was right. There's only two places a woman belongs. That's what I'm saying. James, don't say it. The kitchen in the bedroom, Florida. The kitchen in the bedroom.
Where the woman belongs. Tisha has always been submissive to Marceau, but Maurice and Kimmi seemed like they were the even kill couple that you can kind of respect until now. So I'm just really disgusted by it. Are you disgusted by it? Because I know like the news cycle has moved on, but this story, it has been coming up for me. When I take a shower, I think about it. I'm like, I can't believe that she would do this. Kimmi was the one. She was like the Julia Sugarbaker of the show.
Just so you will know, and your children will someday know, is the night the lights went out in Georgia.
She always could use her words, and she came down to the Fox Soul and did this interview, and I just lost all respect for her. So anywho, like and subscribe.
Yes, I know this, but I would like to know about you.